Picture this. You're in a town where the sun doesn't rise for 2 whole months, where the only way groceries show up is by plane, and when the weather turns nasty, you might wait weeks. Today, we are counting down the top 5 most remote towns in Alaska, and number 1? It's a place where you can stand on American soil and see Russia with your own eyes. Stick around, you'll want to see that. Welcome back to Living the Journey, where we dig into the hidden corners of America and beyond. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because this is just the first stop in a whole series on the most remote towns in the US. Number 5. Utqiaġvik. Way up at the top of the world, sitting on the Arctic Ocean, is Utqiaġvik, once called Barrow. With about 4,000 residents, it's the northernmost town in the United States. And here's the kicker. Every winter, the sun sets in mid-November and doesn't come back until late January. That's 65 days of darkness. Supplies? Barges come in during the short summer, planes the rest of the year. If storms roll in, mail, medicine, even food shipments get delayed. But here's the amazing part. People don't just survive here, they thrive. The Inupiat community has been whaling and hunting here for centuries, and their traditions keep the place alive through the coldest, darkest winters. Would you last 65 days without sunlight? Drop a yes or no in the comments. I'm curious how many of you are tough enough for it. Not sure I am. And if that sounds extreme, wait until you hear about number 3. They don't just fight the weather, they live in one giant building, like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie. Number 4. McCarthy. Tucked deep inside Wrangell St. Elias National Park, the largest national park in America, sits McCarthy. At the height of Alaska's copper boom, thousands lived here. But when the mines shut down in the 1930s, the town almost vanished. Today, around 100 people call it home in the summer, and just a few dozen tough it out through the winter. Getting here isn't easy. You drive a gravel road that dead ends at the Kodiak River. No bridge for cars, you park and cross a footbridge on foot. Groceries? Bring them in with you. Winters? Don't even think about it unless you're ready to chop your own firewood and live cut off from the world. Still, McCarthy has this raw ghost town vibe that draws visitors, old mining ruins, stories of bootleggers, and a community that refuses to die out completely. But unlike our next town, at least McCarthy has a road. The people in number 3 don't even have that luxury. Number 3. Whittier. Whittier, Alaska might just be the strangest town in America. On the surface, it's a small fishing and port town. But here's the twist. Almost the entire population lives in a single 14-story building. One building, Baggage Towers. Inside, you'll find the post office, a school, apartments, and even a church. The only way into town? A single-lane tunnel carved through the mountain. It closes at night and only opens on a set schedule. Miss it, and you're not getting in or out until the next opening. It's like stepping into a Cold War bunker where the whole town is under one roof. Some say it's cozy. Others call it claustrophobic. Be honest. Would you rather live with everyone in one building or be completely alone in the wilderness? Comment below, I want to know which you'd pick. And as odd as Whittier is, our number 2 spot takes isolation to another level. You can only get there by plane or boat, and sometimes not even then. Number 2. Kodiak Island Villages. Off of Alaska's southern coast sits Kodiak Island. The town of Kodiak itself is rugged enough, but the tiny surrounding villages, like Larsen Bay or Utqiaġvik, take isolation to the extreme. No roads connect them to the mainland. You get in by float plane, boat, or not at all. These villages live and breathe by the ocean. Fishing isn't just a job, it's survival. When storms cut off supply runs, families rely on what they've caught, hunted, or put away for winter. Healthcare? Limited. Shopping? Not here. But ask the locals and they'll tell you they wouldn't trade it for anything. The landscapes are breathtaking, the sense of community unshakable. Out here, you're not just living off the land, you're living with it. If your whole life depended on the sea, would you take that risk? Tell me in the comments. I want to see how many of you would trade convenience for that kind of beauty. And if you think being stranded on an island is tough, wait until you hear about number 1, where kids go to school over Zoom because sometimes the helicopter can't even land. And now number 1, Little Diomede. On the Bering Strait, closer to Russia than to mainland Alaska, sits Little Diomede. Population around 80 people. The only thing separating it from Big Diomede, which is owned by Russia, is less than 3 miles of frozen ocean. Here's how remote it is. There are no roads, no stores, no gas stations. Supplies arrive by helicopter when the weather allows. In winter, sea ice sometimes connects the islands, but that's as unpredictable as it gets. When the chopper can't land, kids attend school by video call with teachers on the mainland. Now, here's the part most people don't realize. Little Diomede is only about 2.8 square miles, mostly steep rock. You can't farm here. Survival is ocean first. Families rely on the Bering Sea, seal, walrus, whale, and Arctic char, with seabirds and egg gathering in season. When a hunter lands a big catch, it's shared. That sharing isn't just tradition, it's logistics. Storm week? Helicopter grounded? The village still eats because the freezer chests and smokehouses are full of last month's work. Weather shuts down flights, fuel is expensive, and store food when it shows is pricey. That means planning, rendered fat for calories, dried fish for shelf life, blubber for warmth, and gear ready for narrow hunting windows. Miss a window, you feel it for weeks. 80 people can live here not because the land provides, but because the ocean is rich and the community is tight. Which would be harder for you? No roads, no stores, or no sunlight for months? Drop your answer below, I'll be reading through them. So there you have it, the top 5 most remote towns in Alaska. From darkness in Utqiaġvik, to the one-building town of Whittier, to the icy isolation of Little Diomede, Alaska redefines what it means to be cut off from the world. Which one shocked you the most? And if I missed a place you think deserves the list, let me know in the comments. And don't forget, next week, we'll be heading south to Montana for another countdown of America's most isolated towns.